So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for the VP for EMP and Digital Solutions at EnBW Mobility Plus, Lars Jacobs.
So hello and good morning to all of you. And it's great to be here today. And thank you so much also to the ICNC team and the Hubject team for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to speak at today's event, already the 10th anniversary of the ICNC. Now, as I understand it, I am one of the final speakers that stands between you and your lunch break. So I will try to keep it short and sweet, because we all know that a hungry audience isn't good for anyone. But before we get to that, I would like to take this opportunity to talk to you about my view on the future of e-mobility, why I believe that customer centricity is key, and what that means for us at EnBW. Now, and I'll also outline the three things I think when we're now moving towards mass scale or into exponential growth, into mass market, that I think are the three key genes, the three elements that we as an industry must get right if we want to manage this transition. Now, for those of you who might not be completely familiar, we at EnBW Mobility Plus are a leading infrastructure or a leading e-mobility player in the German e-mobility market. So we provide both CPO, charging infrastructure, and serve as the SMP, as the service provider as well. With our CPO, we focus on building fast public charging or public fast charging infrastructure in Germany. We build along highways, we build at retail chains, and we of course build in urban hubs as well. We've dubbed this the Hyper Network, so if you see the hashtag HyperNet somewhere, you know it's the EnBW brand behind it. And as it stands, it is the largest public fast charging infrastructure conglomerate to date in Germany. Now, in addition to that, with our SMP and with our Mobility Plus app, we make charging digital and fun and easy. And from our perspective, these two functions very much reinforce each other. They go hand in hand because this combination allows us to look at the customer experience holistically and to deliver an end-to-end experience that's great. So with a great CPO and a great EMP, we can create an end-to-end charging experience. And for me, herein also lies the crux for the e-mobility transition that we're facing. We as an industry should work together to become truly customer-centric, to adopt a holistic perspective to customer journey design, and avoid getting stuck behind functional silos. So we need to focus on that end-to-end user experience. Now, taking a holistic approach to customer journey design is arguably always a good thing, but it's even more important in industries like ours, in which the only constant is change. There's massive change laying ahead of us, especially given the fact that we have so much increase in users, that we have exponential growth that awaits us. And the early adopters we're servicing today are different from the mass market customers that we'll be servicing tomorrow. Now, this requires us to continuously build ecosystems that are resilient enough to be dealing with this constant change, and at the same time, we need to standardize and make sure that we can incorporate the sheer volume and the sheer quantity increase. So it might sound like a cliche, but this is the 10th anniversary of the ICNC, and a lot has happened and a lot has transformed over the past 10 years already. But let's be honest, we probably don't even really understand yet what exactly the future will look like when it comes to e-mobility. We've seen new technologies, we've seen new apps, we've seen new players, and a lot will continue to change over the next 10 years as well. Now, one of the most obvious, or the more obvious, factors creating this change is the forecasted user growth. Just to make it transparent, in Germany alone, the number of battery electric vehicles to hit the market by 2030 will hit 15 million. That's an increase of more than 2,000% as compared to the 2020s in less than 10 years. Now, this, of course, presents us with a real challenge. It's a huge opportunity, and it's a real challenge as well, because it requires us to consistently realign what we do, what products, what services we're offering, and at the same time make sure that we're scalable and standardized enough. And I just said it, the mass market customer tomorrow will have a different expectation and different needs than the early adopters we're servicing today. One of the real-life examples that's probably a good indication of how customer demand changes and how it leads to a different product is, in fact, our Mobility Plus app. When we launched our app a couple of years ago, it was a mere e-drive simulator. So people were still very much questioning to what extent e-mobility or electric driving was at all possible for daily use, if it would work. Now, we responded to this customer need by creating an app, which at the time was a mere e-drive simulation. So you picked your car type, you picked a starting point, you picked a destination, and there was a theoretical simulation of what your drive could look like. Now, over time, as customer concerns about range faded, customers needed simple solutions that allowed them to find the charging infrastructure, to charge the car and pay for the charging, to pay for that charging moment effectively. So we responded to this by transforming our app from a mere e-drive simulator, a single-featured simulator, into a platform that now gives our users access to over 300,000 charging points in 17 countries at a single price point. So what we did is we effectively eliminated the complexity from the customer journey, and this has resulted in our app not only winning several awards, but also generated a very large and very loyal customer base for us as we took ownership for the entire customer journey rather than focusing on the transactional elements that were directly relevant to us as a CPO. And just to illustrate that point, at this time, we approximately generate 1 download of our app for every new battery electric vehicle that hits the German market, making us the de facto entry point for new BEV users in the world of, or in the German world, at least in the German world of e-mobility. Now, let's look a bit at what we've done great. We've had all this success and we've seen a great development over the past 10 years, but what is it that we need to address when we go forward? What are the key elements that we as an industry should get right if we want to manage the transition towards mass market and towards exponential growth? For me, there's 3 main elements there. There's 3 key genes that we should implement in our industry DNA if we want to manage this transition towards mass market effectively. First of all, customer centricity. Second of all, we need to keep it simple. And last but not least, we need to focus. We need to execute our ideas and our thinking in a way that's simple and easy for people to understand. Now, I spoke at length about customer centricity already, about the stuff we're doing with the app, and about why it's important for us to take an end-to-end approach to customer experience design. And I know to some of you, customer centricity might sound a bit like a buzzword. Might be true, and at the same time, I really do believe that herein lies the key to our success as an industry. It is very important that we remain truly customer-centric and that we're building products and solutions that really add value to the customer experience and that enable the customers to fulfill that find charge pay journey easily. And so for us at EnBW, this lies at the heart of all that we're doing. For every new feature or every new industry trend that we're evaluating, we ask ourselves the question, how does this help our customers, and how does this help in making the find charge pay experience better? Now, of course, we have a lot of direct customer feedback as well. So we organize customer panels in which we discuss with our customers about what it is they need. We discuss about general trends in the industry, but we also ask them specifically about features they're missing, about our tariff portfolio, about our services. And in addition to that, when we launch major new features, like our Apple CarPlay, we purposefully launch it as a beta version, actively asking our customers, our users, to give us feedback, to tell us what they're missing, to maybe point out 1 or 2 mistakes that we've missed. And that's all very good, and that all works well. At the same time, though, and I think that's an important addition that's often overlooked, being customer-centric requires more than just asking your customers for feedback and then executing on that. A customer can give you 5 ideas, you can build all 5 of them, but still the end product might not work. So you constantly need to ask yourselves, okay, this is the customer feedback I'm getting. How does this relate to what we're building, our value proposition? Can we incorporate this? Can we, in fact, make it work and make a meaningful addition to our customer experience? And that deliberation brings me to my second point. We need to keep it simple. There's a million different things we could be doing. There's a million different things that we could be implementing. But at its core, our customers have 3 basic needs. They want to find the charging infrastructure. They want to be able to charge without a hassle. And they want to pay for it easily. That's it. Find, charge, pay. Not less and not necessarily more. Now, and that might sound easy, find, charge, pay. And at the same time, as easy as it sounds, executing on that and translating that into real features sometimes is a tiny bit more difficult. Because we tend to get distracted with new cool features and new cool ideas like gamification. And at the same time, there's still a lot that we can optimize, and we should be optimizing in that core, fundamental customer experience, especially now that we're entering mass market. And one of the main issues I see there centers around the concepts of data quality and quality of service. To me, data quality still is a major concern. Let me give you an example. Customers navigate to the charging stations based on the geolocation provided by the POI data, the stored POI data in the app. Or not in the app, but in the stored POI data, and then they use our app to navigate there. And it still happens too often, far too often, that the POI data we're receiving is incorrect. And then the charging point cannot actually be found on site, or the customer tries to navigate there and he doesn't get there because the charging address is wrong, or the coordinates are wrong. And we've had instances, and I'm sure many here can relate, where suddenly we had charging stations pop up in the middle of the North Sea or in Africa. And I tried to get Google to navigate me there, but Google found no way to get there. So if Google cannot get there, our customers certainly won't be able to either. If a customer experience starts with such a negative experience, so if you're trying to find a charging station and you cannot find a charging station, or it's behind a barrier, or there's opening hours that you are not aware of, the charging experience is bad and doomed from the start. And then it doesn't matter which cool features or new design you are adding on top of that, there's no way to recover from an abysmal customer experience like that. And here I think all of us, as CPOs, but especially also platform businesses like Hubject, should work together and raise the bar when it comes to data quality and implement standards and quality assurance mechanisms to make sure that we're not messing up the basics. And the same can be said for sharing data, because sharing data also works towards that same basic customer experience, the same basic expectation the customer has. So OEMs should be willing to open up and share data, like, for example, state of charge, as it makes for a better customer experience for their customers. And at the same time, CPOs should be willing to share information such as if a charging station is online or offline too. In the end, we should work together as an industry to create such a standard, because it's the customer journey that builds on the building blocks. So it builds on CPOs, EMPs or service providers, OEMs, and platform businesses such as Hubject. It's the interaction between all these building blocks that ultimately generates the end-to-end experience. As I said before, we're now servicing the early adopters. And the early adopters might still accept these issues as growing pains. Some of them might even find it charming. But the mass market customer that we're going to serve tomorrow, they will not forgive us, even as an industry, if we do not get the simple basics right. Now, customer execution and delivery in times of exponential growth also requires focus. And we've, at EnBW, have found a long time ago that we cannot cover all the elements of the e-mobility transition ourselves. Which is why we've decided to focus on that part of the customer journey where we believe that we can add the most value to our customers. We do public fast charging, and that's what we execute. No distractions. Now, at the same time, we have found that of course, there's different elements to that customer journey or to that extended customer journey that we are not covering. Think about charging at home, thinking about charging at work, and especially the interplay between all those components. And this is why, when we said, okay, this is too much for us to take on in addition, we were looking for a partner to help build these value propositions. And this is where we entered into a partnership with Smatrix. Smatrix is an Austrian-based company. They have over 5,000 charging infrastructure assets under management, and they provide e-mobility services and CPO services in Germany and in Austria. We come together and we found that we can focus on our part of the value proposition of the customer journey by offering services for public charging on the road, public fast charging, and then Smatrix combines that or expands on that with their own expertise, providing the charging solutions for work and providing this charging infrastructure for at home. So while it's two separate companies, both completely dedicated and committed to executing on their own USPs, it's the combination of both companies that actually, from a customer perspective, expands the customer journey and offers us a chance to serve both elements of the market or all elements of that same customer journey with a single face to the customer. So from a customer perception, it feels like it's all handled by one entity, but it's the combination of the two of us that actually allows for us to offer a more extensive product range. And they don't just do B2B, but they also do the same when it comes to municipal utilities, where we offer CPO as a service solutions to municipalities like the utility of the municipality of Passau or the city of Passau, where Smatrix again builds the CPO infrastructure and EnBW adds the EMP function. So the municipality, or the utility better said, doesn't necessarily need to have all the capability in-house, but we can build on that from our perspective and from our hand. And it's essential because I think the e-mobility transition is so big and so large that none of us will have the makeup to cover all elements of that customer journey, to cover all elements ourselves. And therefore, we need to work together, we need to form partnerships to make sure that we actually get all the basics right and that we cover all our bases. I think my time is running out. Actually, I can tell that my time is running out. So let me wrap it up. I think from my perspective, this is the 10th anniversary of the ICNC, and so much has happened already in the world of e-mobility. And we're at the great point to continue building on that foundation that we've laid over the past 10 years to now move into the to the era of mass market era. And the energy and the interactions I've had with so many of you in this room today, they really give a positive vibe, a positive buzz. I think that a lot of you, I can sense the motivation, I can sense the drive, I can sense the commitment to this issue. We have a unique opportunity altogether as an industry to shape mobility for millions of users over the next few years and to really turn this into an industry that our customers love. And we'll manage to do so if we remain truly customer-centric and if we develop standardized, scalable solutions that make sure that our customers love to interact with us, love to interact with our services, and love to use our products. Now, this is something that we are very excited about, and I'm personally looking forward to it and to working on that with many of you in the course of the next few years. Thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much to you, Lars.
Seconds.
We have We'll use those 29 seconds to get to all of the participant questions that have been sent in. So why don't we go straight to the first one and take a look? From Martin, he writes, why does EnBW actively reject Dutch customers?
Now,
You're visiting your nice stations too and want to charge with your products and rates as well.
I can assure you, I mean, that's a funny question because you might not know, but I am Dutch. So I work for a German e-mobility company, so I can assure you we don't have anything against the Dutch. No, joking aside, it's a little bit of a tricky question. We offer services and roaming services to our German customers and to the German customer base. We're not a European EMP in that sense. So we're not aiming to get customers from Spain, from France to subscribe to our model. I think that the tax schemes and all the stuff that's related to that is a little bit different, so it's a little bit tricky. But by all means, come to Germany and charge. We'll find a way for you to charge.
Okay, next question from our participants. From Michael or Michael, does constant change also mean that EnBW will support PNC soon, as this seems to be one next step for a lot of EVs, and auto charge seems not to be the solution, especially when talking about roaming?
Yes. I mean, look, plug and charge is one of those very interesting trends that's emerging. I'll just refer back to what I said before. We look at it and we want to make sure that when we implement a new feature or a new suggestion, a new feature or a new process, we're not just talking about the idea, because I get the idea and the idea is nice. And at the same time, we want to make sure that it's scalable and that it's customer-centric. So any solution that requires customers to download several apps to get codes from different car manufacturers, that doesn't really resonate with me yet. I mean, I understand the idea, but I think the execution and the implementation, especially when it comes to scalability, there's still some work to be done.
Thank you for that answer. Let's take a look at the next question. From Yuan, he writes, as a CPO, could you tell us more about your... Ooh, and the question disappeared. There it is. OK. As a CPO, could you tell us more about your efforts to improve the user experience for users who charge in roaming on your network with another EMP?
I'm not sure I understand the question completely. I mean, user experience, especially in roaming, is of course a little bit of a concern to us. We offer a lot of roaming charging points within our app, and if the question doesn't go in that direction, please rephrase and ask again. But I think for us, roaming or outbound roaming is sometimes a concern because the customer thinks they're entering into a service with us as a CPO or as an EMP in that sense. And then when there's issue with charging data or issue with data when in the outbound roaming, they obviously refer to us and say, OK, I am experiencing an issue at this or the charging station, but we're not usually master of the data, or it's a CPO infrastructure that doesn't necessarily belong to us. Now, there I refer back to the comment we made. We need to make sure we get the issues of quality and quality assurance and quality of data. We need to be better at that as an industry and develop standards. I think the former speaker about Bosch, I managed to get the final crisps of it, also talked about that. It's, I think, an ongoing concern.
OK, let's take a look at another question. From Elon, he asks, can you give more details on the partnership with Smatrix? Who does what?
Yes, I can. I mean, and we're also here. I think the Smatrix management team is also here today. So Hauke, I see him sitting over there. He's here. So please find us afterwards if you want to talk and if you want to discuss potential possibilities to partner with us. Smatrix is, for us, as I said, it's an extension of our product portfolio. We do fast charging, public fast charging in Germany, and Smatrix adds to that with services or e-mobility services. Could be software services, could be CPO as a service, but this is where we work together. Most notably in the area of B2B products, so where we offer a 360-degree product for charging at home, charging at work, and charging publicly, also along the highway and in public locations. And they also work a lot with municipal utilities. Any more detailed questions or potential for partnerships, please come find me afterwards. We'll be outside. Hauke will be outside. There's a lot of us here today.
I think we have time for a couple more, so let's take a look at the next one. It comes from Christopher, who asks, how do you balance simplicity with necessary complexity, for example, due to peak and off-peak pricing, parking fees being waived at night, and so on?
Yes. Super interesting question, and I think this is one of the daily struggles that me and my team are experiencing. How do we keep it simple? How do we keep it intuitive? And at the same time, we see this big wave of new requirements, of novel ideas, but also of different customer expectations that's moving towards us. How do we balance it? I mean, it's an ongoing effort, I think is the fair answer to that. So we try to do so every day, and we try to really focus on that find, charge, pay journey. Is this adding value, or is this a distraction? Does this add more complexity to that mass market customer that we need to be, offering carefree and very easy solutions to?
Okay, I think there's still time for a couple more. Let's take a look at our next question from Simon, who asks, will photos of chargers and the area around be part of your DNA in the future? And if the answer is no, why not?
I'm not sure if photos can be part of my DNA. It's an interesting question. No, I think finding the charging stations and actually getting to them is obviously one of the things that we get as a feedback from our users a lot. One of them is, of course, one of the elements to that question is, of course, again, the issue of POI data. So if I can be certain that I can navigate to the charging station at the specified address, it's going to be easier for me to find it, and therefore the need for such photos, or it might be a little bit smaller, but it might still be an interesting addition to our app and to our current digital offering. We're looking into it.
Okay, let's take a look maybe at another question from Andrea, who writes, in the run to simplify the charging customer journey, which is the importance of value-added services related to the recharge? How do EnBW distinguish itself from competitors?
I think value-adding services can be very interesting for the future, especially doing just that. I mean, we all know that customers want charging stations or charging locations that are easy, where there's a possibility to get a coffee, where there's a toilet, where there's a bathroom. So I think you can play around with that when it comes to value-adding services in the future. And at the same time, I'm always hesitant to fully to dive into that too much, because I think at its core, the customer's journey or the customer requirements are simple. They want to find the charging stations, they want to be able to charge without a hassle, and they want to be able to pay for it. Now, of course, you can also look at it from a little bit of a broader perspective and not offer services that are not directly related to the charging experience itself. And there we have a thing called branded sales partnerships. So for the German-speaking members of the audience, we partner with ADAC. We partner with Allianz, we partner with LBBW. So we have a lot of integration with a lot of different brands that I think benefit from the EnBW brand and the other way around. So it's a great cooperation in that respect as well.
Why don't we take one more?
Sure.
All right, let's take one more question. From Achim, he asks, what is the current state of DSGVO compliance discussions with Datenschutz? We love that, data privacy laws in Germany on auto charge privacy problems.
I think
everybody loves German.
Everybody loves German Datenschutz. No.
Yes.
That's something I think we should dive in deeper. I'll gladly take that on tomorrow. Of course, everything we do needs to be DSGVO compliant, to be German. I'm not exactly sure what we're referring to, but please find me afterwards. We'll discuss it. We'll dive into it, into the deep details of DSGVO, if you want to.
So I think you're going to have a whole conference just on that.
And a coffee.
Okay. Lars from EnBW, thank you so very much indeed for your insights, and to our audience, as always, for your questions.